Hey, aloha everyone. Michelle Melendez with Blossom Inner Wellness and StandTogetherHawaii.com. Super excited today. I have the arborist with me. He is the first guy that I interviewed when the Maui fires were, after the Maui fire was going down and happened. This man has got some information that's going to blow your mind. So I do want to do just a quick shout out to the sponsor of this channel, Ace of Coins, John J. Singleton. If you want to learn how to lower your taxes or eliminate your tax debt, if you want to learn how to buy Bitcoin tax free, if you want to learn how to license your biometric data, your face, your image that's being used by big tech all over the place, you want to learn how to license it because it's your image, then go to aceofcoins.com, ACEOFCOINS. And also shout out to the Voice of Kona Radio, 100.5 FM. Mahalo so much for putting my shows on the air here on the islands. We are getting shadow banned. It's so funny because I just have to say I've had, my subscribers didn't move for a year. So if you subscribed, please double check that you subscribed to my channel because my subscription didn't move for a whole entire year. Now it's finally going up. So I'm just really grateful for that, and also really grateful for Robert, who is a 48-year arborist. 48 years, and 49 now, I think, because I think 49 years, because the last video we did was a year ago. And this man, he's been to over 100 fire locations. I believe, is that just in the United States or United States and Canada?
In California, I've been to 42 of them, but 120 trips to the 42, and two or
Got
three
it.
in Southern Oregon also.
So he's been studying these fires that have been happening all over California, you guys, and he's got some pictures that are going to blow your mind. So with no further ado, Robert, mahalo so much for joining me. You are where you're at, and I'm here on the Big Island of Hawaii. And we just had the year anniversary of the Lahaina fire, which I was in Maui for that. Did a video on, if you guys haven't seen the video with the two ladies in Maui talking about the death count after a year, that's a video you want to see. I did go to the memorial site and I counted the crosses. The crosses just at the memorial site were 147 with 20 missing yellow flags with missing people. And they literally said the official count is 100 and I believe it's 102 deaths and 0 missing. So that's impossible in my opinion, and also many others. So Robert, I just want to say thank you so much for speaking out, speaking your truth. You are an expert in your field, and what you're going to share is mind-boggling. So I'll just give it to you.
Wow. Well, thanks for having me on. I think this is our third time,
Mhm.
and I've built up some photographs here to share from the California Park fire that's going on right now, and also some photos of the Jasper fire up in Canada. And I'm going to start with some of the major anomalies I've found around California in the last 7 years to bring all your viewers up to speed at what I'm seeing and finding out from all my forensic on the ground work.
Awesome. Go ahead and screen share.
Does that fill the screen up enough for your viewers?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Wow. So this is what I found 7 years ago in 2017. And I've talked about a lot of these photos before. This was Santa Rosa, where 4,700 homes disappeared and turned to white ash, but yet all the trees are intact. A forest fire that forgot to burn the forest. And incidentally, now they're not calling them forest fires anymore. They're taking the word forest out of it and calling them wildfires, trying to program people or condition them into believing that only homes burn and trees are somehow fire retardant. Yeah. So that's what I saw, a picture of Santa Rosa that made no sense to me. Almost half a century now climbing mountains and botanizing everywhere I go to 14,000 feet in the Sierra. I've seen my share of wildfires, uh, forest fires burning the forest up at all elevations. I've never seen something like this ever. So it piqued my interest. Same thing, different views. All you see is trees. Very few actually burned up. And many of
Wow.
these are very combustible leaves, like the eucalyptus genus. The oils in eucalyptus are very flammable. Same with your California bay leaves. To this day, I've not seen either of those two species leaves burn up in any of the lower California fires.
So why is that? You told me when you first told me this back last year, it absolutely floored me. Why, how does a fire not burn trees?
To me, and I'm not the expert in this field, but to me, the fire does not recognize the organic material. It's the wrong flame. If it was a normal wood fire we know of, these trees would burn first and houses
Mhm,
would be second, right behind them, of course, especially if they're
mhm.
made of wood. But these, as you can see from the photo, very few are burned up. There really had to be some houses in very close proximity for a tree to burn up. And it wasn't the winds coming from different directions. As you can see in the foreground, there's trees all the way around these homes that are missing.
Mhm.
And it's kind
Yeah,
of rare I even find any black wood of any kind. The houses are usually just white ash, like
all of them
super
white.
intense heat. Well, if the fire was that intense, why are the trees not burned?
Yeah,
Maybe go ahead.
I just want to say when you told me last year, you said the chemistry of the fire doesn't recognize the organic, like you just said, and I was just that just floored me. I finally got it. I was like, oh my gosh, the actual chemistry of the fire doesn't recognize the organic material. And so those of you who got the book Great Maui Land Grab, which you can get at greatmauilandgrabbook.com, Robert is in there, as well as the 33-year firefighter and fire captain, Matt Dankin, and he's talking about the amount of temperature that it needs to get to white to have a white fire like this, and versus black. Like normally on the other fires that I've researched in the 70s and the 60s, you see black char. We don't see any black here. There's
No.
nothing. And also it looks like, look at that. There's no refrigerator, there's no stove, there's no toilet, everything is gone. That is, go ahead, Robert.
Yeah, very few metals are left. It will melt those or burn those. And we'll get into the materials here as I move on. Um, And what I find out more often than not, the trees that are burning, and usually from the inside out, are the extreme water lovers or the higher water holding capacity trees, not the conifers that have flammable sap. It takes a little bit to heat up a pine or any other conifer to get it to ignite, but they're flammable, and at some point they combust. Not your water lovers. They don't ever combust. They're full of water. But I'm gonna go on here. This is
Yeah.
Santa Rosa. I've been up here many times to this is exact site. I'm sorry, it's not clear. It's not my photo. But your Jack in the Box on the bottom left, McDonald's at the top, and the gas station are just missing, and all the metals and concrete and slate and granite, all that's left. But the oddest thing is where the fire come from across Highway 101. And here's three different species of trees, all in the poison oak family: the African sumac, the Chinese pistache or pistachio, and the Peruvian pepper, which we call now California pepper. None of them burned, as you can see. Some turned brown. What caught these buildings on fire, and how'd the fire go 100 feet to the next building and only burn that? Some
Hmm.
great questions.
Hmm.
A year later, approximately, I saw the Paradise fires, and 18,000 homes are just missing. Look at the photo.
Hmm.
There's a few dead Italian cypress in a row on the left. I noticed for some reason those are burning, and I don't know why. But the rest is ponderosa pine and white fir. There's some planted conifers from around the world also. And they didn't burn up. And this was a horrific firestorm, they said, that moved 8 or 9 football fields a minute.
Yeah, I remember my first job was in Paradise. My mom lives in Chico, 20 minutes away. So I went to this fire that December, and I looked and I saw the trees and I saw these homes. They were white ash, and then there'd be a home completely standing, nothing wrong with it. No, in the white picket fence, there was a big white picket fence there, and it's still there, but yet the home next to it is completely gone, white ash, no fridge, nothing to show the foundation. And when I went there, when that fire was happening, I remember being told, or somewhere on the news, or somebody said it was like the fire was running people down. It was like
Yeah,
people were running from the fire because it was running people down. So how does a fire that is running people down doesn't burn the trees?
yeah,
That
yeah.
it just,
I mean, where's the fire come from? You have to have fuel to keep a normal fire going. if the trees aren't burning, what's to fuel the homes? And it's something I just noticed in the bottom right corner is a trampoline. I find many trampolines with very few holes in them. And they're made of some rubberized and synthetic stuff. I'll see a few holes in them, and some of that holes can be sun damage. Trampolines don't last too many years, but there it is, kind of intact with a big hole in it.
Can you put your mouse on it, or mouse?
Now
Where is it?
oh yeah, there was like that.
Oh, okay, there it is. I see
Yeah,
lower right hand
just
corner,
noticed that.
everyone.
Yeah. So I find a lot of those, and I might have a picture. This is also paradise. The pines are right there.
Oh
They're
my gosh.
all dried up, internally cooked from the inside out. And there's a black oak in there, almost dead center with the yellowing leaves. I can tell the trees from the air. I've done this for a long time. And here's your mobile homes. They're just missing, and the frames, the steel frames are bent and twisted. To get to these temperatures to do that, a normal fire can't do it. It just can't.
Mhm. Well, and
It's
also
amazing.
what's really interesting too is there's nothing, it's like it's always completely gone. Like in a fire, in a forest fire, you have like maybe some part of the house didn't burn, and it's black and it's soot, but every single one of these homes are completely gone. There's nothing to show for it. And that right there shows a signal that this was an attack. And I do have when you're complete with your sharing, I do want to share the technology that can do this, that they have available. They've had it since the 60s. Since the 60s, they've been working with this type of energy. But go ahead.
Right, right. This was up north, the Kincaid fire, just north of Santa Rosa. Many houses, of course, were burned to the ground. I've analyzed this 5 or 6 times. I get a passion and I drive up to these places and spend the day. Many trees that hung over the road and they were black, they cut them down because they didn't want them to fall in the road. This is what I find. Many of them burned from the inside out. This is either a California bay or a coast live oak. It's one of the two. They look similar bark, but there's nothing around to do this. This is a grape vineyard with hardly any grass. So yet this thing burned internally. Wherever the most water is, that's what's actually catching on fire the quickest. And
Well, the Maui fire,
over here, you have a wooden post that holds the grapes really tight, holds the tension of the grape, the cables that hold the grapes up. It's dry wood with no sap left in it. It didn't want to
can
burn.
can you
The
point
trees that burned, I'm
your mouse
sorry.
to that? Put your mouse on that.
Yeah, this
Oh,
post
that one.
here.
Okay.
When I find dead trees and stuff like that, they're not really burning, and that should be first. A dead tree or a wooden post with no sap. It's opposite world. Whatever contains the most moisture is burning first, not the dry stuff.
And I
Um,
just want to say that Maui, in Maui, for the Maui fire, some of the water was on fire. And I remember we
yeah,
had a conversation about that because you said they're saying that it's because of the gasoline, but this wind was 30 and 80 miles an hour, and we had like when it's the ocean, it's not a still lake.
yeah,
So some of the water got on fire in the Maui fire. How is that
yep,
possible?
yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
This one I threw in from the internet. It's not mine. This was the car fire up in Redding, California. And these look like they're all oaks and maybe some pepper trees there. Now, this was a grass fire in this area. A little wimpy grass fire took away these 3 different houses. And just to know for your viewers, a grass fire gets so hot it'll turn a 20-foot tree brown. Oak tree, doesn't matter the species. I have a couple here where I live. We had a car that caught on fire and it burned the field up. All the oaks turned brown or at least 20 feet up just from a grass fire. That didn't happen here. Show me one tree that turned brown.
Now,
But yet,
where's the car fire? Because I see
this
different
is
fires.
Redding, California, three,
Okay.
4, maybe 5 years ago. And there at Whiskeytown Lake, there was boats on fire because they had metals on them, but not the wooden dock going out to the boats. The wooden
Oh my
dock was okay.
gosh.
Anyway, I had to show that because I see a lot of grass fires, what they do to our trees. They turn them brown. Not this day.
So, okay, wait, go back there. I have a question on that one, Robert. So you're saying, so the white is where the car burned, where your mouse is?
That was probably an outbuilding because the house is next to it. But in the left foreground, that's a house. And in the
Okay.
background on the right by the bus or camper or whatever, that was a house.
Okay. And then the black is where the grass burned.
Right. This is all just
Okay.
field, just grass. I would have
Got
seen
it.
there's
kind of
something.
like the upper yellow in the upper screen. And then you're saying none of it and none of that burned up through the trees. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
the trees should have
very
turned brown
interesting.
just from the
Yeah.
heat. And I believe the
Yes.
one on my mouse is a eucalyptus. It's looking like a
That
eucalyptus.
should have went up. That should have
Yep,
just.
most combustible leaves I know is the
Mhm,
eucalyptus genus. Yeah,
mhm,
over on the hillside over there, those are eucalyptus also.
mhm. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Um, they took a park away from us in the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area, called Big Basin State Park, where we could go and enjoy groves of redwood trees, and some big ones were there. And they wouldn't let you in the park for 2 years, but I analyzed the whole perimeter, all the homes that were burned down. And here I'm standing on Highway 1 with the ocean behind me, the Pacific Ocean. And I stop and I'm looking at blue gum eucalyptus here. That's the one I know the best. The fire came all the way down to Highway 1, even jumped Highway 1 and headed towards the ocean. But here's the fire under eucalyptus with the leaves touching the ground. They refused to ignite. No way. But they turned brown, but they would not ignite. I can light these on fire green, hanging on the tree with a one cigarette lighter. And as you can see, they did not burn up, and they should have. There's
Mhm.
no exception to this. This is one of my kindling when I start a fire for camping in the lowlands, because these can't grow in a snow area. They're subtropical. Um, Anywhere in the lowlands, I grab these leaves first thing, put it in there with my paper and my little sticks, and boom, I've got a fire. As you can see, they refuse to ignite. One of the most combustible leaves on the planet. It's the wrong flame.
Wow. And you guys, stand up there for one second, Robert. Go back to that picture. Because I do want to say that, well, again, Robert is in the book Great Maui Land Grab. You can get it on Amazon now. You can get it at greatmauilandgrabbook.com. That book shares with you many pictures like this from the firefighter, Captain Matt, as well as who owns America, why this is happening. There's a reason why we are under attack, because people are under attack. Our homes are being destroyed, but yet the foliage is fine. Plastic doesn't burn. Like this is literally impossible unless it is done through microwave frequency. There is a microwave frequency that does have this ability to do this, and that is a different chemistry than a regular wildfire. So I just want to say that again, if you guys have not gotten the book, Great Maui Land Grab book.com, greatmauilandgrabbook.com, it's something to share with not just with yourself. It's like reading it and understanding it, but share it with people who don't think anything's happening. They go, oh, well, that's weird. Why didn't eucalyptus burn even when the leaves are touching the ground? But but yet the house is destroyed and gone. Give them this book because it will actually share with them why we are under attack and what is coming for all of us unless we really stand tall. And I just want to share on that note, look at your planning department. Go to your planning department or go online to your planning department and look at your general plan for your area. And what I did was I took the general plan, I stuck it in a Google Doc, and I put in the word search for the word stakeholder. Search for the word stakeholder. The word stakeholder came up in the Big Island general plan 47 times. The word homeowner came up zero. So we are under attack, and the reason is because these stakeholders have invested in certain technologies that are going to literally change our way of living unless we stand up to it. So I want to again say thank you to Robert. I know he's not finished because we have plenty more. We are also going to talk about the people that are being accused of setting these fires, which is really, really sad. Go ahead, Robert. Much mahalo.
All right. Out in our California Delta, we had a little place called Isleton, and there was 19 or 21 mobile homes that burned up. And it's only an hour from me. And I thought, all right, I'm going to go take a look. The fire was still going. There was firemen, as you can see in the photo, wearing their yellow, and they couldn't answer any of my questions. They just, anyway, they came up with whatever they could. Here's the wooden deck to go in one of the mobile homes. As
Oh
you can
my
see, the
gosh.
mobile home it's just metals left. Every bit of it is gone except for the metals. And this is the door frame to go in the mobile home, the wood, dry, flammable door, the decking.
Mhm.
It didn't turn black anywhere. And we've got horrible flames here everywhere to
Mhm.
burn this at this magnitude. And as well as your extension cord here, your gas can and the other stuff. But the wood did not even turn black on the
That was,
coach side. I mean, this is
it.
impossible for a normal fire that we know of.
Yeah, and with the Maui fire as well, there's two things. There's one house completely intact, but it didn't have any metal around it. No metal around it. It was completely cleared out. The entire house, and this is in the book, you guys, Great Maui Land Grab. If there's no black, there's no nothing. And Robert, there's a complete, I don't know if it's a condo or if it's an apartment complex, but a building massive, massive,
Oh,
no fire damage. And we
no.
had winds, 30 to 80 mile an hour winds in Maui. And so this is like this, and this is showing it's the same
Yeah,
attack. It's the same
yeah,
attack.
yeah. Same thing. I had to do the tires for anybody that wants to go out and do their own forensic work and take pictures. Notice your tires will look like this. The rubber is completely gone. It's turned to charcoal, I guess, but your steel belts will be there. Now, this is 99% of the tires. Then you'll see a tire like this in the same exact area. And I always move them. I have to play devil's advocate. I move them to see if there's a ring in the soil telling me they've been sitting there for a while. And so I do. I pick it up. Well, why didn't this one burn like the other one? This is why. I changed lenses, close-up lens, polyester cord.
Oh,
There's one, I believe, one metal wire going around the perimeter to hold it on the rim, uh, but not enough metal to do any damage. They're superheating the tires because of the metal inside. I see one of these ever so often, maybe one out of 200 tires, and there it is. I have to look for the label, polyester cord. So
and you
that's,
know what blows my mind is you can actually see the label. You can see it so clearly.
yeah, I get in close. I make sure I clean it up or whatever, and I take a
Mm.
close-up lens. Anyway, there you go. It's one or the other, either gone completely or untouched in the same exact area.
Wow.
Um, Up at the Fawn fire. The Fawn fire, I have a lot to talk about. This was perhaps 3 years ago, just a mile north of Redding, California, on the east side of Highway 5, our big interstate freeway. I saw some pictures there, so I went up and spent a whole weekend there and at the Dixie fire and the Caldor fire. I did a big loop, spent 3 days. So here's a eucalyptus at the Fawn fire months later, winter starting. That's why grass is growing. These are eucalyptus. They did not ignite. There's
They're all dry.
plenty of leaves hanging down low. They refuse to ignite. Some
Wow.
more
Wow.
eucalyptus.
Wow. Wow.
They're
Oh,
low
I
enough.
want to go ahead.
They're low enough to burn. The ground's black. A little flame will ignite these things, and you got to get away from them pretty quick because they get really hot really fast. Um, they didn't burn with the leaves right there.
So I want to share something with that too. They put a 5 mile dust screen around Lahaina, 5 miles, and they approved it in 8 days. I think it's $2.3 million that they approved. Within 8 days, they put this 5 mile an hour dust screen. They call it a dust screen. These trees, there were trees, I don't know what kind they were, but they were over the dust screen and they looked like this. They
Yeah.
looked like this. They looked brown, but they were still intact. The leaves were still there. The branches were still there, and they're hanging over the dust screen that they're putting around the entire perimeter of
Yeah.
the burn zone. So this is definitely a similar attack on all fronts.
Yeah, that's just hiding evidence. They don't want
Mm.
anybody to take pictures and share them worldwide.
Well,
Uh,
then also when I went back to the burn zone, you can only get in with somebody who has a property there. So I have a friend who took me through the place where you have to stop. So okay, you guys, it's a year later. A year later, there's nothing there's no fire anymore. It's a year later. The entire burn zone is still blocked off, and you actually have to show proof that you live there in order to get through. And then they tell you don't take pictures and no video. Still to this day.
why would they
So
care? Why would they care?
exactly. So I am going to put the video up that I took on the
Good,
burn zone.
good.
But that's to this day, everybody. Right
Yep.
now it's happening.
And so these are forest fires that forgot to burn the forest. That's why they're taking the word forest out of fires and calling it wildfires.
Disgusting.
Same fire. This is the Fawn fire. I'm up on a hill and there was a man here, and I didn't have the heart to tell him what's going on. His two-story house is just gone. It was to the right. This is the view from his house area. Show me the burned up forest. Right in
Wow.
front in the middle is a
Wow.
deodar cedar from the Himalayas, pine family. All the left side are ponderosa pines. And down below, these are black oaks on the hillside below the brand new telephone pole. And as far as you can see, the trees are dead or appear dead. They're
Mhm.
not burned, only the
Mm-mm.
homes.
Did
And then,
you, did he think that was weird?
no, I just thought about his insurance and how he can rebuild and all that. And
Mm.
some of the folks, I don't want to educate them.
Yeah, yeah,
There's just certain people.
I agree.
And my most damning evidence I've taken probably in 7 years is these posts. The whole fence line looked like this. This was the best one. What kind of fire wants to ignite nails and
Wow.
only burn the wood as a secondary event? The wood was only burning because the nails were there, and the ground, because I believe the ground itself is on fire. I really
That's
do.
right.
The ground's on fire, but then it goes out. The fire doesn't climb the post, burn it up, and drop the nails in the ground. At this bonfire, they found a lady up there that was backpacking and she was a little disoriented, tired, and thirsty, and they blamed it on her. Her name's Alexandria Silverneva.
Oh my
And
gosh.
2 or 3 years she's been in jail, and they're pinning it on her. And I think they're even brainwashing her to try to get a bargain where maybe she'll spend some time in jail and pay a fine, but she's sticking to her guns, saying she's innocent.
She
And
is innocent.
she's of course couldn't have started this fire. I've
Mhm.
talked to her lawyer, and he just kind of disregarded me completely. But an innocent person is in jail that could never have started this unless she's a super scientist. No way.
Yeah. And I want
That-
to say one more thing about
That's a
that. When
different
you
post. Same line, different post.
different post. Okay. Look at this, you guys. This is insane. When you said the fire, the ground was on fire, there's a body in the book Great Maui Land Grab, and his you see the charredness, you see the lines of the hair, you can see the cornrows, the braids in the hair, you see the whole body except for the feet. The feet that were on the ground, they're gone. They're like disintegrated.
God.
And so when you said the ground was on fire, something happened with the ground being way more hot uh, than the
And
regular fire.
I all I can come up with is there's metals in the ground naturally. All the
That's
different
right.
types of elements are in the ground. So I believe they're igniting to a point. And the moisture, electrical current goes through moisture very well. So between those two, and possibly chemtrail spraying, but I put that on back burner. I'm not too big on the spraying as far as causing the fires or promoting more fires. That's
Mhm.
another issue. But this is what I find, and this lady's in jail. This fence line's still there. It's on a back road lane that nobody seems to know about. Uh,
Wow.
Not sure which fire this came from. I have dozens of these photographs from all different aftermaths. Yeah.
Look at these nails.
I want the fireman to explain that one to me. It just burns, the nails are superheated, the wood burns because of close proximity, then it just goes out. It
Mhm.
doesn't climb the post. Wood climbs wood. I mean, fire climbs wood.
Mhm.
Now they were switched down to the oak fire out of Mariposa, California, western entrance to Yosemite National Park. I happened to go up there because I saw foul play. 140-mile drive, and I spent the day there. Here's your ponderosa pine, nice and short ones that should burn right up. These are your ladder fuels to start a bigger forest fire. They refused to burn. Nope, the whole area was like this. I analyzed it for the whole day. Here a house is gone, all the trees are dead. The car is completely fried. It's toast, as Judy Wood would say. The windows
Mhm.
are melted out at 2,500 degrees, yet 4 feet from it is this one's a ponderosa pine, I believe. Yeah,
Wow.
ponderosa pine.
Pine
4 or 5 feet
needles.
away, I'll see him turn like this, dead and black looking, but not combust.
And there's a pine cone.
Yeah, that one's a digger pine. There's two pines in this section. But there you go. And they put another innocent person in jail after I analyzed it. Edward Weckerman, 71-year-old gentleman that's got diabetes and he can hardly walk. And they made up a lie. 150 people saw him running from the fire. I went to
Oh,
the court date, his first court date. I went there. I told his lawyer I would be in that room and he should watch my videos, probably after you and I spoke.
Mhm.
and I have damning evidence. And he didn't believe me. He watched the videos, I'm sure of it. I came in the old courthouse built in the 1800s, and the room's very quiet. He saw me and looked at me, walked over to the prosecutor, whispered to him, and they're looking at me. Then they had the judge come over. All three of them are whispering and talking. Then they go in the back room where I can't see them. When they come out, the judge goes up to the podium and cancels the court date. No reasons, no excuses, nothing. He just cancels it because I was in that room. This is your definition of a kangaroo court right there.
Mhm.
They're all on the
Mhm.
same side, told what to do.
Mhm.
And after that, I decided I wasn't going to pursue this court case anymore. But he couldn't have started it. This
Well,
piece
thank you
of
so
wood,
much for going. That says a lot about you, Robert. We just want to say
well,
mahalo for
thank you.
that.
This wood piece is the top piece to a fence, a homemade fence. It was a 2x4 that fell off onto the ground. It had about 12 nails in it. And as I moved it around, nails were falling out. I think there's still 3 in it here, maybe more. But what kind of fire attacks nails? And
Mhm.
I went back here early this year in March, I believe. Oh, that was that court case. That's right. I went back and that board was still laying on the ground out in the almost in the street. So I have this at home with me now. I have this evidence with me. It looks the same.
And you
Uh,
know what? They couldn't let because if they let the court case go and you got on the stand, you would reveal this whole thing.
yeah, I would have fried
So
them. They can't
yeah.
answer my questions. None of these firemen can answer my questions. They don't have a
Mhm.
clue, or they're told
Yeah.
to play ignorant or whatever. Yeah. So this board says it all to me.
Mhm.
So that guy's in jail. I had to show this one. This is in Colorado, January 3rd,
My
3 or 4 years
gosh.
ago. It was a cold day. The next day it snowed, but it was a cold day, and they attacked this community. I believe 919 homes are gone. Look at the trees. And around the town or community is a grassland. That didn't burn. Just the homes are gone.
Just the homes.
They don't care what month of the year it is, what country or state. They'll burn you down anytime now.
Mhm.
Anytime. I don't care if there's no combustible materials and you live in a desert state. They'll take the houses from you and call it a global this, a global that, a climate change.
Yeah, yeah, that's a crock of poop. I'm going to share with you guys why.
Yeah.
Like, almost
Oh yeah. Of
2,000 scientists from around the world are stating there's no climate emergency.
course not. Of course not. I just did a mountain trip in June. Climbed some mountains, plenty of snow. All the plants at 8, 9, 10,000 feet are the same height. They're not smaller. The snow load's the same. The creeks are the same. Everything's the same. I want to see
Well,
what their change is. The plant kingdom tells me everything. There's no change, and I want to see the giant forests that are dying everywhere. I've hardly found any trees dying.
yep,
Uh,
yep,
I've got pictures.
yep.
So here, this is over near Ukiah, California,
Mm,
perhaps 3 years ago. There
mhm.
was a fire there called the Hopkins Fire in a little community called Calpella. Um, I saw that one. I went up there and analyzed it. Anomalies everywhere. And they put a guy in jail, a homeless person that was standing on the bridge over the Russian River that was dry. He's just standing there watching it. Put him in jail and says he did it. No, I've analyzed this one many times, and that's quite a drive for me also. So here
And
you go.
oh, go ahead.
Yeah, here's a
Y-
parking block, like a 2x4, 2x8, that's perhaps 30, 40 feet long, and you roll your car up, put your front wheels on it, and turn the engine off. It's just a parking block that's homemade. The house is missing. The forest there's 100% blue oak with a few gray pine or digger pine and very light grass. And here a mansion is just gone. The house is completely gone. Here's the parking block. The only place it burned is where the bolts are. Every one of these pictures is different. These are
Oh
different.
my gosh.
These are different bolts. Two sets here. Everyone's different. That's what's going on. The metal is on fire.
Mhm.
And no, the wood didn't catch the metal on fire, vice versa. No, the
Mhm.
bolts were superheated. So that's what happened there. And they got this innocent guy in jail. There's another story there. I was up on the road up there by the reservoir, Mendocino Lake or reservoir, and there's a man up there that had lost his mobile home, and he was growing marijuana with a legal permit or whatever, and it was under plastic and perhaps 40 feet long, growing 6 to 8 foot plants. The plants were all dead under the plastic, and the firestorm went right through. There was hardly a hole in the plastic, painter's plastic. It's almost
Mhm,
clear. It's kind of whatever that color is, opaque or whatever.
mhm.
Hardly a hole in it from the flying embers that they always talk about. The
Yep.
plants were dead, cooked, but the plastic didn't even burn up. Then next to it, perhaps 40 feet away, was a container freight that you put your stuff in and close the two doors. These shipping crates. That thing was fried because it was all metal except for the floor inside was wood. And he said everything he had inside was burned horrifically and he couldn't figure out why. Well, I knew, of course, because it's
Mhm.
metal. Put metal in a microwave, that's what you get. But the organics and the plastic just didn't really want to burn. So that guy's in jail, Devin Johnson, and he's been convicted.
Oh
Yeah,
my gosh,
I
it's
noticed
evil.
that he's been convicted.
That is evil.
Guardrails, and I talk about guardrails. It's hard to find them just right, but this is a really good one. They'll burn at the ground like usual, and guardrails aren't put in brush and grass. There's gravel under them, or dirt, or cement. There's not
Mhm.
enough combustible materials to burn the bottom, but yet at the bottom they're burned. And at the top, where the bolt is, they look like this. Some much worse, but only where the bolt is, and then the fire goes out. The bolts are on fire. And Matt and John, the fire captains that
Mhm.
analyzed Paradise, good friends of mine, we talked about this. And since then, oh, I don't have the picture. I've been noticing they're replacing these with a metal post that goes in the ground, and the bolt doesn't have the same bolt. It has a big plastic fitting behind it, probably microwave safe.
Mm,
They've changed it completely. So I got the feeling if the fire comes through, it'll have no effect on it.
mhm.
And I see this everywhere in California. This is back to that Isleton. This is a mulberry tree. Mulberries hold a ton of water. The water's in a white, juicy form, like fig trees, which are direct relatives, both edible and two different.
Wow.
To burn a mulberry, when I cut these open, there's water everywhere, spurting out everywhere, white juice all over my legs. That's the way they're put together. The fire came through the mobile home. Look at the grass behind it. First thing that should burn is the grass.
Mhm.
It skipped the grass because it doesn't have that much water content, and it attacked the mulberry tree. And to me, it looks like lightning hit it for 10 minutes straight. The bark flew off, it burned it internally.
It
This is,
looks like somebody carved it. It's
oh,
quite amazing.
the firemen had no clue. I couldn't get through to them, so I just walked away. They were just ignorant.
What do you mean you couldn't get through? Like you couldn't?
I'm trying to teach them about what's going on here, and they rolled their eyes. And the lady, the main captain or whatever she was, she's trying to tell me and explain to me how this is happening. She had no clue. It's not in their training.
And it's really hard for people to believe the amount of evil it takes to destroy people's homes and murder people like this.
That's right.
And I get it. I totally get it because when I was waking up, I was arguing with my boyfriend at the time and I was like, "No way. That is not possible because my human heart, I can't fathom somebody would be so evil." And
Yeah,
so with them, that's why you're going to be writing a book soon about this.
yeah. I'm going
Um,
to write a book called Microwave Forest Fires.
mhm. And so
Um,
that's, yeah, so it's a really good idea to keep your eyes open for that book, you guys, and as well as greatmauilandgrabbook.com if you
yeah,
haven't gotten that, because it does share how this is happening and
yeah.
why.
Um, and there's a saying I found on the computer, well, probably 6, 7 years ago, that rings true. It goes like, any significantly advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. And that's kind of like our cell phones in our hand.
That's
40,
true.
50 years ago, we'd look at that cell phone, we'd say, you're crazy. They'll never have something like that. Well, every 10, 20 years, they come up with something that it seems so far-fetched, but they've created it. And that's
Mhm.
what they're doing now. This weapon is horrific. They've
It's
taken the
horrific.
microwave energy out of that box in your kitchen and they can project it now.
And there's actually an apparatus that has it, and there's a US patent for
Yeah,
an apparatus that has a drone ability to use this frequency, these lasers,
yeah.
so to create this.
This is the Caldor fire, top of Highway 88, Carson Pass Road. It burned almost everything between Highway 50 and 88, the Echo Summit and the Carson Pass. I'm on the Carson Road here, and this is almost subalpine belt. These are aspen, the yellowish ones with the white bark. They're a populous genus, direct relatives of Fremont and black cottonwoods. And in the willow family, they hold a ton of water. When you see an aspen, they're in a meadow or next to a creek at these high altitudes between, say, 7 and 9,500 feet, perhaps. You don't have many fires up here. If you get a lightning strike now and then, it burns a small area and there's no forest left. And it's cooler up here. It's rare to find a fire at this altitude. Yet, the fire came all the way up to here, even went to timberline, where there's no more trees. But what I noticed is they're pulling out the metal pipes and replacing them at the same time. There was 12 of these, or 11, and I found their pile. And then they replaced them with a plastic pipe, those black plastic ones, or cement. Never metal again. Now, why in the heck would they want to pull these out of the grounds? They're underground. A normal fire would have no effect on these, but perhaps with microwave technology, it would compromise the integrity of the metal and they might collapse and there might be questions. So they send a road crew out. I found this 4 different fire aftermaths now. Big Basin State Park. They pulled a bunch of those out where the fire crossed the road. The Dardanelles fire off the Sonora Pass Road, 108, and the Salinas fire. John and Matt brought that up, so I started looking for that. There it is. Way up here. There's your
Wow.
pipes. These are at the only gas station at Kirkwood Ski Resort. They're in the back by the one pump they have there.
I know Kirkwood.
There is what I was talking about. They cement them in or dirt and they put in this, I don't know what that's made of. I don't know. I don't think it's aluminum. That'd be expensive. But there's your rubber. It's a plastic bushing. I thought it was rubber. It's a plastic bushing. I got the feeling this thing's entirely microwave safe. So when the future comes, they won't have to replace them. This is all over California. Doesn't matter what county or city I'm in. They're doing this everywhere. I'm glad I put this in here. This is at the Lake Berryessa fire. They called this one the Markley fire, or the LNU complex. They put a gentleman in jail, Victor Sarantino. I think it's an Italian name, if I'm not mistaken. They said, oh, he took his girlfriend up there and he killed her and he tried to burn the body. No, he didn't. He probably ran for his life as fast as he could and she could not keep up and it took her and burned her. And they put him in jail. And he's also been convicted. This burned from Highway 80, Vacaville, all the way to Calistoga.
Oh my gosh.
It's a long drive. It burned the entire range. It circumnavigated Lake Berryessa. This fire was gargantuan. I'm
Wow,
not sure
I
how
know
many
that
homes were
area.
gone. I've analyzed this 7, 8, 9 times. Anomalies everywhere. And this one, behind me is a house that's missing. I walk in the forest here, and there's a spring here where copious water comes out all year. That's what this tree needs. This is the largest water holding capacity tree in the western U.S., a Fremont cottonwood. These get gargantuan. Some are 15 feet across. The
Wow.
leaves didn't burn. Oh, it's
No.
hot as hot as you can get. The leaves didn't burn, as you can see. It cooked from the inside out and fell over. It would not burn a leaf. There was 2 of them here. This was the closest I could get in the bushes. This is the last tree that should burn. If it burned, it would sucker back and grow. That's what they do. I don't know how many vehicles I've seen now. Without exception, every single vehicle has its windows melted out. That starts melting at 2,500 degrees. Perhaps to get it flowing, it might go up to 2,700 or even more. The 2 fire captains, John and Matt, have told me in their combined 60 years of service, they've never seen one window melted out. Even when a car caught on fire and they were busy all day with other calls, when they got to the car, the fire was barely going or out. They still didn't have a melted window. Yet every single vehicle, without exception, I've seen are melted out. Everyone. Okay. This is 2 years ago, the Mosquito fire, Auburn, California. Our main freeway out of California heading east is Highway 80. And just east of Auburn, there was a fire called the Mosquito fire. So I went up there and these are my shots. Ponderosa pine laying on the ground refused to burn. Some do have some burning to them where the needles are burned. And there are elements of a normal fire. You can find that also. So I can't say it's 100% directed energy weapons. Mostly they are, but when I see some trees burned, perhaps there's some elements of a natural fire for whatever reason. But here you go. Here's your whole forest. Didn't burn up here. Same forest. The cars are toasted. Like 9/11.
Oh
The
gosh.
windows are gone. The aluminum or alloy rims melt out at 1221 degrees, and they're flowing away from the car with
Mhm.
no flammable or combustible materials on the ground to warrant that melting. They just keep on going. Fires at the ground level are the coolest they can be. As the fires climb, they're hotter as you go up. And here they are, completely gutted by themselves. A dirt parking lot.
Wow.
Everywhere you look. Incidentally, the trees that are burning the most are on the left down below here. These are black
Mhm.
oaks, a forest tree of the higher Sierra, mid elevation zones, hold a ton of water. Those are the ones burning before the pines. That's
Wow.
that's backwards, but they hold tons of water. On the drought tolerant side to some degree, but they hold a ton of water. All the oaks are like that. This goes up to the Dixie fire, where they burned the town of Greenville to the ground. Here's your
Yeah.
forest.
My
Ponderosa pines
grandmother's
right.
buried there. My
Well,
my grandmother and my great grandmother are buried there in Greenville.
here I was up there all day and I went through the whole area and I didn't find burned trees. They're all dead looking, but they're not burned. The trunks are black, and I equate that to your cambial fluids just underneath the bark. Your most active fluids are just under the bark where they're moving up and down, bringing nutrients up and down the tree and keeping it healthy. That's what's actually on fire. Even though the whole trunk's on fire for 60 to maybe even 80 feet up, they didn't want to ignite the needles. The number one component on the tree that burns is a needle.
Hmm.
And then they're making a fire line from these roads. This was Highway 89. Might be 100 to 200 feet from the road. On both sides, they're making these gargantuan fire lines. Here's Greenville. I walked the whole town. I walked everywhere and took pictures. I was lucky to find this plastic. I
Wow.
believe there were some metals in here. That's why part of the pool did collapse. This was behind a wall where nobody could see it. So they didn't take it off your property like they have everywhere else.
Hmm.
There's your plastics, not a hole.
Not a burn mark. And also
Here,
it's blue. It's also, I do want to talk about a little bit about
true,
blue.
true. There's a lot of blue in these photos. Some of these are melted a little bit, but for a house to disappear, and there's a bolt behind you there in the wood there. This plastic should have melted into a puddle.
Yeah.
Not happening. And incidentally, up here at the Dixie fire, they put a guy in jail and he's guilty. Stephen Maynard, a professor. I think he's out of San Jose or something. Oh, they said he admitted it. He admitted to starting all these different fires. That's a lie. I know it's a lie. The materials tell me everything. The plants. He didn't do it. If he did start a fire, it didn't do this. They
Mhm.
added to it. But he's in jail
Mhm.
and he's guilty. Same old thing. I don't believe
Same old.
anything what they say.
And I
Here,
do want to mention about blue since we're on the blue topic
yep.
or blue, you got blue stuff there. Um, the reason is, and this is what I've been told from, or what I have learned from different scientists, is that the frequency of the fire is the same. There's an actually a U.S. patent for a sapphire laser, a blue, and sapphire's blue, and the same wavelength and frequency of that blue laser, it reflects the color blue. So anything that's the color blue won't absorb it and burn. It actually reflects it because it's the same wavelength and the same frequency. That's why blue doesn't burn. And so this is from two different scientists, and if you can find them, Great Maui Land Grab book.com, they're in that book as well, and just look it up. But that is one of the reasons why blue is not burning. And you got, is that a blue tennis shoe or gray?
It's just a synthetic that should have burned right
Mm-hmm.
here. There's two different buildings gone. This is Calistoga up north, the wine country where all the hot springs are. I've analyzed that I don't know how many times. Here's a tennis shoe just sitting there. And
And
as
under
far,
it is ash. Under it is
yeah,
burned.
and there's others that went with this. I just didn't bring them all. There's a carpenter's level that's plastic, unmelted. There's a seat cushion. There's coast live oaks there. None of the leaves burned. But the trunks, and it's a smooth, shiny, silvery bark. There's no appendages hanging off it where you could burn it and turn it black. 30 feet in the air, the whole trunk's black. And this is in the shade where there's no combustible materials on the ground, maybe a little bit of leaves. You're not getting 20-foot leaves out of 2 inches of leaves on the ground, I mean, fire out of 20 to 2 inches of compacted leaves. You're not getting flames all the way up the tree. But
Wow.
yeah, there it was. So that's the first section I wanted to go through, all my old photos. This is just a mountain lake that I haven't been to, but I'm going there soon.
It's beautiful.
It's no trails to it. Unbelievable. Now I want to go to the park fire. That's burning right now.
That's
I've got-
Chico. That's where my mom
Yep.
is and my
From
aunt.
there all the way up to the western slopes of Mount Lassen. They've closed Mount Lassen Park. You can't go there. That's another part of their plan, is get us out of the wildlands,
Hmm.
take away all our access to nature completely.
Hmm.
Somewhere in the park fire footprint, found this photo. There's your ponderosa pines. The trunks are black. The needles don't want to burn, yet the house is missing. Just unbelievable. Missing.
Hmm.
I wanted to go up there yesterday, but it's a 184-mile drive. Wow. What's on fire? The house, the
Hmm.
metals. You don't see anything else on fire, just the metals. It's amazing.
The trees are, yeah, the trees are absolutely fine.
Forest fire
So I
is
guess the safest thing in a forest fire is the trees, is the
yeah,
forest.
go stand next to a tree. Yeah. Another house there. This is rare. The firemen probably took this picture and they're here putting it out. I rarely find a house intact or half burned. They're usually left alone or they're
Hmm.
completely gone.
That's right.
I don't know what this was. I think it was a drivable mobile home. I see the rim under there, but it had an extra rim, or it's the intake manifold of your engine that melted and flowed way out here. Unbelievable what happened here. And there's trees behind you everywhere. There's trees everywhere. The temperatures to accomplish this, you're over 2,500 feet degrees, perhaps all the way to 3,000 degrees. Because when you
Wow.
start approaching 3,500 and more, the metals will actually burn up, which Matt and John talked about in the Tubbs fire. A few of the homes on a street, there was nothing, no stone, no metals of any kind. The entire house was completely gone to white ash. But in horror, around the whole house were green trees.
Oh my gosh. So what is a regular temperature for a regular wildfire,
A
forest fire?
wildfire on the computer, it says 1427.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're going to burn the super hot eucalyptus wood, perhaps you get above it. But that was kind of an absolute 1427, and that's extreme. Of
Mm-hmm.
course, with any accelerant, it's going to go above that, of course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that's kind of the ceiling for that. Now, here's your aluminum boat, melting aluminum, 1221 degrees. And I don't believe there's anything around there that could have even done that. To me, the boat itself was on fire.
Mm-hmm.
You got a more ponderosa pine over there, and on the left, you have black oaks back there. They burned up well because of the water content. And this is just, I mean, nothing around it. You're out. The ground's not black beyond the car. The car burned up. The digger pines in the background, or gray pines, they didn't start it. The interior, I think those are interior live oaks to the right, or canyon live oaks. It's one of the two. None of those burned up. What caught this car on fire?
Mm-hmm.
And it burned right here. Nobody drug it there. This is what happens. Windows are out. Look at the tires.
Yeah, they're gone.
This is common. Every single car. I
So much
only put this
damage.
in here for a couple reasons. Every car, of course, the windows are melted out. And the trees are black oaks and perhaps a couple introduced ones. They all hold a ton of water. Those are the ones burned the most. In the background, you'll see the pines. They're not burned up. And those should have been the ones burning. It's opposite world. Yeah, look at this. This must have been a hoarder of cars, or pick
Mm-hmm.
your parts for
Junkyard or
older
something.
70s, 60s cars. It could have been
Mm-hmm.
a pick your part or something, but I kept that for the trees and the pines in the back.
Wow.
Yeah, here's a little bit lower down, Ponderosa pine. There's a eucalyptus dead center,
Mm-hmm.
and valley oaks. That's your white oak of the Central Valley. So this is probably only 1,500 to 3,000 feet elevation. A home is completely gone. Where'd the
Mm-hmm.
fire come from? Didn't come from the forest. So that's your park fire. Cars, there's forest here. Same anomalies, no different.
Yeah.
And this is
Yep.
all off the computer. None of these pictures are mine. And this is 429,000 acres. Over 600 homes are gone on this fire.
Wow.
And this is the car that supposedly a man rolled down the hill. He lit the car on fire and rolled it down the hill. Great. Why are the windows melted out?
Yeah.
My first question. And there was a lady crying and talking about she couldn't believe he did it. Well,
Oh,
without knowing her,
crisis
I'll
actors.
call her a crisis actor.
Yeah, and
And
we'll talk
all
about
just
that.
one complete lie. That's all it is. I know it is.
Mhm.
How did he light on fire and why are the windows melted out?
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't believe that story at all. I'll be with you in a minute.
And you guys, this is hard to believe that there are actually actors out there. They're they're lying. They're people that are actually paid, and I know that this is very controversial. I don't have somebody actually found a website that says that they actually train these people.
Yep.
I haven't seen it, but this does happen. And if you want to poo-poo that, that's okay too. But
No,
this is happening more and more.
there's the one lady that shows up, sometimes blonde hair, sometimes black hair. She's all over the internet. She shows up at all the school shootings.
That's
Huh.
right.
She just happened to be in France and all around the States. Same lady. I'm sure they're done using her now. Um, and then this might be the last one, but look at the forest.
Mhm.
Home's
Wow.
gone. And here's a blue, probably a plastic swimming pool, deflated. Didn't have
Mhm.
a hole in it. Nope. And the stairs, the ladder going over the pool. I believe those steps are plastic. Nah, they didn't want to melt either. So your home's gone. There is some black in here. Perhaps the
Mhm.
firemen got here early. I don't know. I wish I went up there yesterday because I know I'd find all the plastics.
Yeah.
So that's enough of the park fire. Now I want to get up north to Jasper, Banff and Jasper in Canada, one of the prettiest parks that everybody knows about.
And is that happening right now too?
Yeah, I don't know if it's out or yet or not. Maybe it is out, but Jasper I hear it's turning into a smart city or one of those things. Read that somewhere, which I don't doubt. So we're gonna get into Jasper.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why. That's
Yeah.
why Maui happened, because Maui was set to be the first smart island in
Wow.
2011 to 2016. Japanese and Hawaiian stakeholders
Wow.
set it to be the first smart city. And the thing people don't understand is that a lot of the renewable energy is actually it actually has been shown by scientists to be more dangerous and way more costly to people, and not as safe, like yeah, not as safe for the human body. So
Wow.
that's something you're going to learn. Again, Great Maui Land Grab book.com, and smart cities are happening all over California. So
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how we're gonna stop them. Here's the same technology. There's your pines, somewhat burned, somewhat intact, but look at the vehicles. They all look the same.
same, this is Jasper up in Canada, you
Yep.
guys.
Half the city's been burned down, half of it. I tried to get the clearest photos. I spent some time here because some were blurry. So forgive me if they're a little blurry, any of these. I like a crisp, sharp picture. And I like contrast with the trees behind. So there's your forest, and this home's just gone. Um, yeah, it's just an amazing thing. I don't know how many homes here are gone, and all you see is forest.
And do they have somebody who did this? Are they accusing somebody?
Not yet, but give them time. They'll find
Hmm.
somebody it's probably people they don't like for whatever reason, or
Hmm.
maybe they have a large piece of property they want to take from them. Who knows?
Hmm.
The Ed Wackerman in the Oak Fire of Mariposa, he has 40 acres. I just read it online. So they're probably going to take his property and sell it. Who knows? And there's a blurry one, but this home is completely gone. It came from this side with no trees, and behind it has trees.
Hmm.
Yeah, that was a little blurry. This just came up a couple days ago, a church, and look behind it. Up here, you're going to have pine, spruce, fir, probably some deciduous pine, which is called larch, where the needles fall off in winter. I think larch are in that area. They're all in pine family. I think every tree here is pine relative. Yeah, spruce. All these are flammable, but not that day. Just the church. Wow.
Oh
Somewhere,
man,
somewhere in the residential here. Just
same stuff.
yeah, and all you see is trees. This might be the last one. Some nice cabins. I see a full forest, and this is probably, well, up there. I wouldn't know the altitude. It could be lower down up there. But here you go. Everything's gone. Forest seems to be pretty intact. So
Mhm.
they're doing this worldwide. And these are the two I wanted to highlight, the Park Fire and Jasper. Yeah, and this one, of course, did the fire stop right there? Because I see an umbrella, one on the ground, the plastic pots, lots of
Mhm.
stuff that should have burned. But
Didn't.
for the sake of argument, maybe the flames didn't come this way. The whole house is gone. I would think that's some incredible high heat.
Yeah,
Even the door frame here to the
I
right.
was gonna say that. Yeah.
Another thing I noticed in all the aftermaths I've been to, 42 aftermaths now and 120 trips to them, I rarely find glass. If it's
Mm,
in vehicles, it's melted out onto the dashboard. The homes, though, the broken windows of the homes, I rarely find that glass.
yeah,
Yeah. And there's a
that's
good
everywhere.
shot
Oh, there
overall.
you go.
We're going to burn the
Yeah.
town, but we're not going to burn the forest. Now, these
Mm,
pines do appear burned, and the homes are close together, so perhaps enough ambient heat did damage them. And even though they're burned, I can't say they were burned normally with a normal combustion fire we know of.
mhm.
Also, I see recycle bins in the street on the left. Yeah, that might be the last one. The forest didn't
Okay.
burn. It might be dead, but it didn't burn naturally.
Mhm.
That was a good one.
Oh,
There's like a
wow.
mobile home to the right, or some type of, not a mobile home, but
Mhm.
whatever it is they tow. Look at that car. What did
Yeah.
that? There's your pines all in the background.
Yeah.
That's my last one.
Frustrating. Wow,
I,
Robert.
I
Well,
have I have this
it's
paper I wanted to
amazing.
hold up so people can
Sure.
see it.
So stop your screen share. Go ahead and stop your screen share. Okay, go ahead
Okay.
and put that up.
Can you see it?
Yeah. You put it
I,
right
I
up to your face. Actually higher because you need it. Your fingers are right there. 10 fire anomalies.
I'll leave it
Okay.
here. If people want to take a picture or want to read them off because I can't see it.
Oh, I can't see it. I can only see part of it. It says 10
Oh,
fire anomalies and then you got to scooch it over. You know what we'll do is I'll take a picture afterwards and then I'll stick it in the description and people can actually to yeah, and
okay.
it'll go to yeah, and I'll have that as a PDF
Okay.
people to download for that. Thank you so much for all of this information. This has been incredible. And also for standing up for that guy, that innocent man in court. Because if you're in court and if this information comes out in any court, one court is all it takes, it's over. That's why that's why I wrote the book Great Maui Land Grab, because I'm like, you guys, look at this, look at what's happening, and not just what's happening, but why. Why is it happening? Who's invested in these smart cities that are one of the reasons for this, not all of it either. The other thing is the UN, United Nations goals that they have for us that are really flowery language and are really going to be taking away a lot of freedoms. So if you're watching this and you're going, well, what can we do? What can we do? Join standtogetherhawaii.com. You can go to standtogetherhawaii.com, put your email in. I do send out emails for the Hawaiian Islands, but also nationwide. If somebody sends me something, we stand together for them as well. So we take different actions. So standtogetherhawaii.com, and then I'll do a quick screen share just so you guys can see. Actually, let me do this really fast. And Robert, is there anything else you want to share before I do that?
Um, I just want people to educate themselves, tell a friend, get small groups together, do whatever you can at your level to educate people on what's going on here. Because if you try to start a large group, they'll come after you. They can't have anybody. They don't like the team captains that can orchestrate everything and put things together. So it's better if everybody does it individually and we don't have a figurehead at the top. Just everybody learn it, educate, take pictures, share it everywhere you can. That's what I do on a daily
Yeah.
basis. I can't stop. I try to share it everywhere and I do these videos just to try to save the world. Because if we
Yep.
don't,
And
our children will not have wild places. They'll be stuck in a
no,
city with
yeah,
a wall around them and all their rights will be taken away. I know it.
that's right. That's absolutely right. That's what's coming. So I'm going to do a quick screen share. I hope my video is all right. I hope it's not anyway, this is standtogetherhawaii.com and you can just click on join us up here and then you can click on Maui Fire. I have so much information on this website. Maui Fires, where is it at? It's weather modification. I mean, we didn't talk about weather modification, but they've had that since the 40s. weather modification. This is direct energy weapons that they've had since the in the 60s. They actually Direct Energy Weapons Acquisition Act of 2019, because in the 60s they spent over $6 billion with the billion dollars in the 60s, but they couldn't bring the direct energy weapons systems program all the way to fruition. So Congress took it over in 2016, and you can see that there. You can, again, this is standtogetherhawaii.com. You can also there's also direct energy weapons patent. That's what I'm trying to say, is patent, US patent for that. And that is the one with the laser beam, the sapphire laser beam here. And then this is greatmauilandgrabbook.com, greatmauilandgrabbook.com. The truth will set you free, but first it will piss you off. And this is not just what happened in Maui, but it's who owns America. You know, I'll do a quick stop screen, because I do want to share a story. I was in Oroville. So my hometowns are Chico, California, Oroville, California, Paradise, California. All of them burned. I was in Oroville a week before the Oroville fire up in Kelly Ridge. And I just visited a girlfriend of mine that I knew from elementary school, gave her my book. She doesn't buy anything. We're totally on the opposite sides of what's going on in the world, but we love each other. And I gave her my book. She calls me up and goes, Michelle, because she had to be evacuated. She had to be evacuated. My cousin had to be evacuated from Oroville. She's like, Michelle, what is going on? And I said, read the chapter, Who Owns America? Read that chapter, because that's going to tell you who's doing this and why they're doing this. You know, it's not, that's another reason why people can't fathom that this is really happening, that somebody would actually attack, you know, that these are not normal, is because they don't understand why. But that is really, really important to grasp the whole concept. So Robert, you are just amazing in your expertise. Have you found any other arborists who are speaking up like you?
Only at Big Basin, and they're not speaking up. There was two arborists working on a Sunday in the rain, and I rolled my window down and I asked them through the window. I said, "You guys see anything anomalous here? Anything that's out of the ordinary or something?" And I didn't elaborate. And this tall, long-haired guy that looks like he smoked his marijuana, he was kind of happy, and he looks at me and he says, "Directed energy weapons, dude, coming from satellites." It blew me away. I didn't offer anything. He tells me. He's the only arborist. The two of them were arborists.
Yeah.
He's the only one out of all my arborist friends. I have a lot of them. They all think I'm nuts. They don't have mountain experience. They have book smart and city smart. They've not backpacked 10,000 miles and had campfires for 49 years and analyzed, you know, everything that grows. That's what I've done for a lifetime. So, and I just kind of skip them and I work with people on the fence that want to be educated. You just have to keep
You
going.
have to. You have to pick
You
and
have
choose.
to. I can't linger with these people.
No,
If
no.
not,
And
yeah.
yeah, I totally agree with that. That's again another reason why your book is vital, you know, and Great Maui Land Grab is vital to get and share, you know, share it, because they can't deny it when they actually see it in their face. Like the fact that the mayor of Maui at 6 p.m. when the fire in Lahaina was going off and people were dying literally and the houses were on fire, the mayor of Maui at 6 p.m. says the Lahaina roads are open, everything is fine. At 6 p.m. live on the day of the fire. You know, it's like, why? What's going on with this? So get these books, you guys. Robert's going to be having his book up hopefully soon, and we'll see how we can support him to get that up. But get greatmauilandgrabbook.com. Greatmauilandgrabbook.com is how to get it from my website. You can get it now on Amazon. It's available on Amazon as well. And anything last shares? Otherwise, we'll do a quick prayer, Robert.
I'm gonna send you my paper here. I'm gonna send that to you so you
Yes,
can put that in the
that will
proper
be in the
position.
description as well. It is 10 fire
And
anomalies.
shortly here, I will be analyzing another fire. I don't want to go too far away. You still there?
Okay. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, that's about all I've got. I just want
All right.
everybody to do what they can.
Yeah, and one thing you can do is share, and please subscribe to this channel because again, like I said, my subscriptions literally stopped. And for a year, a whole entire year, I was like, all right, YouTube, whatever. This is also on Rumble. You can join that channel as well. And Stand Together Hawaii. Let's all, if we all join together, and share this information. So let's just do a quick prayer. Great Spirit, infinite intelligence, you know better than us what's going on here. And we just call forth, we just see that the light is shining on all these places in Chico, the Parks fire, up in Canada, in Maui, all of the places around the world, Chile. And we just know that there is a reason for this that is moving us toward a better world. We see that those in power who do not value human life or human property, that they are peaceably removed from office or that they voluntarily step down. We get to watch the show. Great Spirit, we just know that the world is becoming a better place. And we just send a spark of hope to anybody who feels hopeless, to anybody who feels afraid of wondering how they're going to make ends meet, how they're going to feed their keiki, their children, or put food on the table for their families. We just give them the spark of hope that they're not forgotten, that they matter, and that things are getting better for them. They will get better. We just send that out right now to anybody around the world who just needs a little bit of hope. We send that out right now. And we send so much appreciation and gratitude to Robert and everybody else who's an expert in this field sharing the truth. We send them so much appreciation. We know that there is a beautiful white light around them that keeps them safe. And we just honor their journey for saying, yes, I'm going to come at this time in history, and this is going to be my contribution to making the world a better place. We just know that he is always kept safe. He has always sent so much abundance. He always has everything and more that he needs. And we call that forth to all truth speakers and seekers, that they are all kept safe and that they're all guided to do what is theirs to do in this world at this time. And we know, Great Spirit, we give it to you. We give this beautiful world and this journey that we are all on. We give it to you, Great Spirit. We just know the world is becoming a better place for all children to be safe, for all people to be safe, to do what they love to do, to have abundance, to have a beautiful home that is safe to live in a beautiful area that they love. We know that that is done. We call that forth now, and so it is. Robert, so much mahalo for joining me today.
You're welcome.